What's going on, people? And welcome back to Uncomfortable Truths. This is episode 6, and tonight, people, we're going to be discussing past versus present day football. Let's get this show started. Has football declined? Was football better back in the days with the likes of Maradona, Pele, Ronaldinho, R9, Garincha, George Best? Or is football better now? Messi, Ronaldo, Modric, Mbappe, Haaland. This discussion has been going on for a very long time. The discussion of whether football has declined. A lot of the older generation believe that the players of their time, the likes of Maradona, the likes of Pele, Ronaldinho, R9, are a lot better than the players that are playing today. And they believe that the players of today don't match up to the players of the past. For me personally, I believe that football is just as good now as it was back in the days with the likes of Garincha and Pele. I believe the players of today, like Messi, Ronaldo, Modric, Neymar, Hazard, they do match up with the players of the past. And I believe that there is a certain biasness with the older generation when it comes to talking about the players of the past. That's why they say the players of today, they don't match up with the players of the past. I believe there is a natural biasness because they grew up on the Pelés. They grew up on the Maradonas, the Garinchas, George Best, Bobby Charlton. They grew up on these players. So naturally, they're going to have a biasness towards these players. And they're going to say that these players are better than the players of today. And for me, that's not the case because I believe players like Modric, why can you not say a Modric matches up to a Zinedine Zidane? Let's be real, bro. Why does Modric not match up to Zinedine Zidane? Look at everything he's achieved. 4 Champions Leagues. Got his country, Croatia, to a World Cup final. In terms of achievements, why is he not on spoken with the likes of Zidane? Even Neymar. Why is Neymar not spoken with the likes of Ronaldinho? Because if you look at everything he's achieved just as much as he has. Just as much as Ronaldinho has. And he also has the longevity over a Ronaldinho. You know? The other day, he just scored his 400th goal. 400th career goal. So why is he not on the level of a Ronaldinho? And for me, like I said, it's just biasness from the older generation because they grew up on these players. It's not just in football, it's also in the music industry. You hear it when with the older generation, they say Tupac. Tupac is levels above the rappers we have today. You know, in basketball, the older generation, they say Michael Jordan is a lot better than what we have today. You know, even in music, it's not just football. And I think it's just across so many different industries, the older generation, they just have a biasness, but we don't appreciate what's today, what there is today. But anyway, enough of me waffling. Let me bring on the panel. Let's hear some other opinions. But what you lot telling me? Jinky, Doctor, how you lot doing, bro? What's you lot's general opinion on this?
Good evening. Look, I ain't gonna lie to you. One, I'm laughing at the fact that the players that you're using, they're older than me. So I'm interested to know what present day players you're really talking about. But look, the past, I feel that football now has lost an element of shine and romance to the game. When you really look and cast the net wide, there's less superstars now compared to, let's say, you even go back 20 years, 30 years. That was when I was as a kid growing up watching football, teenager. There's less superstars now. I hear these days, overused phraseology for players who have actually done very little to warrant such claims. ridiculous claims like GOAT being used, baller, world class. You know, for what? For players who've done literally nothing in their career. You know, players are getting hyped and accolades for being mere passengers, you know, in a successful team. Take a certain Dembele. I always hear about him being the truth and world class. And the argument is that he's won a World Cup. Well, he barely played in that. He wasn't integral to that team. Well, that's a part of a player's career, isn't it? But look, I feel like in this day and age, we've got, you know, with social media, the drive for commercialism, footballers today are bigged up more than they really are. You look at your I always call them Instagram footballers, the ones that look aesthetically pleasing on the eye, the ones that are really marketable. You got your YouTube compilations. I can make Marcus Rashford today look better than Pele if I'm going to have a YouTube compilation. That's not realistic, though, is it? When it comes to him on the pitch every game throughout his whole career. So you have that element. You have now what I think is the killer of football, this overuse of stats. And it's not even just the basic stats, it's the obscure stats. I'm seeing more and more obscure stats to try and big up certain footballers. I can watch Bruno Fernandes and he can have an absolute bang average game. And then I'll see someone like Statman Dave come out and say, oh, he was top in this field, he was top in that field. What a player. And I'm just like, well, hang on, just watch that game, he was bang average. He's lost the ball quite a lot. Where's that stat? So it just seems a bit odd. I'm seeing bang average footballers bigged up because they do lots of runs over 90 minutes. Yet you'll see their goal contributions, their assist contributions, nothing, barely anything. Yet they're hyped up to be as, you know, I'll name names. Adama Traore, prime example. The way that Adama Traore is hyped, you'd think he was Ryan Giggs. Ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Now compare that to the older generation. You didn't need stats to tell me that these players were good. It's as simple as that. You didn't need it. You had more Mavericks. With Mavericks, you had actual genuine iconic moments, actual class. And for me, you don't have that now. So sterile. You look at the way that football's driven these days. You look at academy football. You look at the influence of this kind of Spanish continental style that is definitely been in the English game, where it's all about systems and everything like that. Don't get me wrong. Players today are definitely grown to be athletes, to be stronger, to be more muscular. But the element of flair has been completely killed from the game. People are getting booked, for Christ's sake, for a rainbow flick. What the hell's that about? That's what football is. That's what football should be. Displaying your element of skill and beating your opponent, and you're getting carded for it. Nah, that wouldn't happen back then. And you had genuine competition. I'd spend probably an hour going through all these big players, man. But we'll go through that shortly. But there was more competition. There was definitely better players. You had the creme de la creme fighting each other.
Jinky, bro, I disagree with not even 90%, probably 100% of what you said. But we're gonna debate. The debate will take place. But anyway, Doctor, what's your general thoughts before we dig deep, we analyze deep? We're gonna break it down. But anyway, Doctor, what's your general thoughts on whether the past is better than the modern day?
Wow. There's a lot of strong words there from Jinky about the present day and how it's a lot worse. But I think there's an element of nostalgia to it. I feel like the older generation, they grew up with a certain style of football and a certain type of football, and they're not happy that football has now changed to something else. So I'm pretty sure even they're like before them, their parents and grandparents were like, oh, your football is becoming too big, because probably back, because like if we're talking about 50s and 60s, people were full on kicking each other. It was brutal. It's just like people were just like mashing each other up, and they've probably gone, oh, 80s and 90s is too soft. The same way they're just going, oh, 90s and it's the same way he's going, oh, now it's just a bit too soft, rainbow flicks, blah blah blah. But like, first of all, it wasn't a, well, if you look at why he actually got booked, it wasn't because of the rainbow flick. It was actually because he was trying to time waste in that game. He was trying to time waste, and you get booked for time wasting. It's a rule, and he got booked for it. But in general, I thought there's like a lot of young talent that we're just writing off because they're holding on to this like idea of their player wanting to be at the top. Like they don't want their player to be eclipsed. Like if you've seen like on Henri and you saw all of what he's done, and then you see this kid Mbappe, he's just come through lightning fast, come out World Cup at 19, killed it, absolutely killed it, destroyed it on his own. They're thinking, oh, he's going to eclipse my legend, my person. So I feel like they're just getting a bit upset that their football is now gone and now we're moving on to bigger and better things. And like, they don't like it. And the whole systematic football is not an issue. Like you're like with all this flair and all this stuff came a lot of just recklessness. People had a lot of reckless abandonment for their bodies. People were chucking themselves into tackles. For example, look at Wayne Rooney, absolute baller. Issue is he just chucked himself into every tackle, abused his body. He kept going into ridiculous challenges. He was playing with metatarsal injuries. Like his foot was basically gone, and he's still playing, literally destroying himself. You have Ronaldinho. He had a good career. He literally got too hyped, started doing all this weird stuff behind the scenes, and he declined fast. I feel like people don't accept the fact that players are trying to keep themselves around for longer, trying to elongate their careers, have more time at the top. And by doing that, you have to make some sacrifices. And I think people don't like that, the fact that these players are making these sacrifices to have longer careers.
What's the sacrifice? What's the sacrifice?
Not being a meathead and jumping into random tackles to try and take care of your body, eating well, drinking well, all that kind of stuff.
What's that got to do with being a technically better footballer that can operate better skill?
Because you have to keep your body in a good physical condition to be able to do the same flicks and tricks that you could used to. Like if you're a player and you want to be able to like dribble past a person and keep up that pace, you want to keep yourself in top physical shape to literally go beyond like 35 without dropping too much in pace.
Okay, you know what? We could go all day, but I have a method to break this down to make this fair. But before I break this down and how we're gonna do this, I want to remind the viewers, please like the video, share the video as well. This is gonna be a very juicy discussion. It's gonna be an interesting discussion. We're gonna break it down. We're gonna talk about whether the past was really better than what right now. So make sure you like the video, share the video, and yeah. So Jinky Doctor, the way I would like to do it is break it down position per position. We're gonna start off with goalkeepers, then we're gonna move on to defense, midfield, and then attack. That's how we're gonna do it. We're gonna talk about whether goalkeeping is better now or better back then, defending, midfield, and attack. But anyway, let's start with goalkeepers. Jinky, in your opinion, are the goalkeepers of today as good as the goalkeepers of the past? Is Neuer, Alisson, De Gea as good as Peter Schmeichel or Oliver Kahn or any of these other goalkeepers? Do these goalkeepers of today match up to these goalkeepers of the past? Jinky.
Well, the requirements have changed in terms of goalkeepers. I think goalkeepers, I'd probably say pre-tiki-taka, pre-Spain dominance, were just required to be goalkeepers. Keep that ball out of the net. Command, your area, command that defense. I feel in some ways, the goalkeepers have got probably a bit more technical with the system play, so they have to use their feet more. You know, you've seen goalkeepers like Joe Hart, who weren't bad goalkeepers, all of a sudden become non-existent because they can't use their feet. But I will say that in terms of actual goalkeeping, being a real presence, so the past still has it. There is a certain softness, a certain weakness that there will be very, very few goalkeepers in the game now where obviously there's a challenge to that point. But this is the issue. Every position you'll probably look at, you're looking at one or two people, whereas I could come up with 4, 5, 6, 7 off the bat, and they were good all-round keepers. Didn't have these weaknesses. They weren't soft. Go on.
Yeah. Go on.
Okay, so you have, as you said, Schmeichel. You have likes of Casillas. You have the likes of Buffon.
Mm-hmm.
You have Cech. You have Dida. You have Van der Sar. You have Oliver Kahn, as you said.
Could any of them distribute? Could any of them distribute the way the goalkeepers of today distribute? Could any of them sweep the way the goalkeepers of today sweep, coming out of anticipating a ball over the top, coming out and clearing that? Did any of these keepers do that? I never saw Casillas sweep. I never saw Casillas distribute the way that Alisson or Edison does. You know, the goalkeepers of today, they're not just required to save. These goalkeepers you just mentioned, they were just required to stay in net and save everything. They weren't required to do all these other extra stuff to anticipate the play, to sweep, to distribute, to start the attack. So
there's sweeping, all right. As in terms of distributing, yeah. But as I said, that wasn't even a topic of dispute from myself. What I'm saying is that these keepers were all rounded, and they were actual leaders. Fine. How many keepers in this day and age are leaders at the back? They're all mute.
Loads.
They're all quiet.
Loads
of real characters who, if a defender makes a mistake, they're literally getting bollocked.
Yes.
That's just because you don't even get it's soft.
Look at almost every keeper in the Premier League right now. If you see their defender make a mistake, they will scream their heads off at them. All right, look what happened yesterday.
So compared to Oliver Kahn to David De Gea, and you're telling me that they're the same when it comes to telling their defenders what to do. Give over, man. One is literally meek. One's meek, and the other one's literally
hold on. If we're comparing Oliver Kahn and David De Gea, could Oliver Kahn keep the most clean sheets in Europe with a defense of Phil Jones and Chris Smalling?
Was David De Gea not in a successful Man United team?
I'm talking about when United was bad. Chris Smalling and Phil Jones were awful at one point.
Well, I'll do you a favour.
David De Gea.
I'll do you a favour, yeah? When Man United were good, what was his leadership like then?
Okay, but
he was a young. Wait, hold on. Granted that was his first few seasons at the club. He was still adjusting.
Oh, okay. Oliver Kahn didn't need that excuse. He didn't need that.
Oliver Kahn was a one-club man, wasn't he?
Okay, do you see, Jinky? I'm not gonna lie. I agree with you in terms of leadership, character. The goalkeepers of the past are better without a doubt, but that's not on the pitch. That in terms of character, motivating team, okay. But I'm talking about ability. On the ball, like I said, saving the goalkeeper. You said all round, bro. The goalkeepers of today are way more well-rounded than the goalkeepers of the past. Yeah, the goalkeepers of the past might shout more, but at the end of the day, I would rather my goalkeeper, have more attributes in terms of on the pitch, what you're doing on the pitch to affect the game. Would you know?
A massive part of affecting the game is keeping a clean sheet. You build championships on clean sheets at the end of the day, and if you're doing that, and at the end of the day, if they're collection
look at Edouard Mendy, how many clean sheets is he keeping?
If at the end of the day, if your collection in the box is a lot harder back then, it's a lot more physical, and they weren't making a meal about it, all of a sudden people get a little bit touched and they want to feign injuries and everything like that. That's not goalkeeping. That ain't goalkeeping, man.
So
Okay,
see
Doctor,
again,
hold on.
this obsession with players trying to like jump in to catch the ball and hurt themselves. What kind of lunacy? You
Okay,
want your keepers to be
Doctor,
lunatics.
I'll let you have your
You
general
have to be
thoughts.
a
I'm
lunatic to
thinking
be
of
a
the general
goalkeeper.
thought.
You want your
See the saying.
Hold on, hold on,
your
hold on. Hold on. It's time to read comments, lads. It's time to read comments. Yeah, I will let you, Doctor, have your general thoughts on goalkeepers later, but let's read the comments. If you're talking about ability, of course, goalkeepers of today, because they had better diets, practice environments, and so much more advantages. Yeah, let's move on to the next comment. Past keepers have more leadership, character than current, but now the present ones are more technical though. But personally, like I said, I would rather more ability than character in on the football pitch. So yeah, that's my thoughts. But anyway, Doctor, what's your general thoughts on goalkeepers?
Yeah, so this whole thing about a keeper needing to be a leader, it's not a requirement anymore. Football has changed. What we want from keepers is to, first of all, they need to be able to save, and then they need to be comfortable on the ball. Because we have this thing in football now called pressing. Yeah. Back then, you could sit at your goal, not do anything for like a good 5, 10 seconds, have time to take 10 touches, play around, do some kick ups, and then kick it 5 yards to a centre back. We don't have that time anymore. There's no literally. If I'm playing Liverpool right now as a keeper, I'm having Mane, Salah, Firmino close me down in 5 seconds as soon as I touch that ball. They need to be quick thinking, quick on their feet. Like they need to be, their brain needs to be working so much faster than keepers back then. Also, because of system football, we're getting ridiculous chances being created. If you look today at the Liverpool game, look at that save Fabianski has had to make. How Mane just literally just slipped in, point blank in front of goal. There's so many point blank saves keepers have to make. I think is and you can't just parry it out anymore. You have to either put it out of play or you have to hold it because back then, if you shot and you parried it, most likely your defender will get it. Right now, if you did that, nah. If you parry a shot, so the other team are getting it and it goes in, and everyone's looking at you like you're a mug. So I feel like keepers right now need to have need to be more intelligent. Maybe not as maybe not as vocal, but they need to be more intelligent and better on their feet and have a quicker mind.
100%, man. 100%.
I always find it interesting with this like recency bias, I'm going to call it, because I can have a conversation with people older than myself and a lot older who can, and I'll keep it relevant to goalkeepers because we're talking about that. I can sit here and have a conversation about the likes of Yashin, Gordon Banks, and people like that, and actually generally take into account the level of goalkeeping ability that they had. Now, you're telling me that football hasn't changed in so Banks and Yashin, 50s and 60s? You're telling me that football hasn't changed in that 30, 40-year period? Well, of course it has. It's changed massively. But I'm not going to sit here and go, they're reckless. They're doing this. They've got less intelligence. They had to save things that were actually harder than the footballs of today. Like, what are you talking about? So I find it a bit weird that you want to completely dismiss anything that was like decent in the past. As I said, I've already made a point of it being more technical with goalkeepers and keepers having to use their feet. But you're not even prepared to accept this element of leadership and an actual good goalkeeping, like basic good goalkeeping in itself, and that's lost to today. And that's what go through defenders and midfield and attack. You'll see that basic concept lost. The fact that you earlier, I think it might have been Oz, who said leadership It's not important. This is why the game is crap today, because when the standards drop, they don't sit and actually give a shit. What they do is they put their stuff on Instagram. They'll then go out to their parties and whatnot, this, that, and the other, and then they forget about it. They don't care about losing. They don't care about losing like how they used to back in the day.
Okay,
Hold
listen,
on.
Jinky, you know, I'm not dismissing, you know, the players of the past. Like I said, I already admitted the goalkeepers of the past, they have better leadership skills. But let me give my general thoughts. I gave Jinky, Doctor, you've given your general thoughts. Let me give you my general thoughts on why I believe goalkeepers of today are a lot better. Like I already said, the goalkeepers of today, they're required to do a lot more. They're required to be good on their feet. They're required to distribute, play from the back. They're the first strikers today. Back in the days, whenever the keepers had the ball, they just booted it out. They didn't try to start an attack from the back. They weren't the first strikers. They weren't involved in attack. They weren't required. They weren't required in the attacks to start attacks. Nowadays, they're required to start an attack, play from the back. And like Doctor said, yeah, nowadays pressing is a lot more common. Teams press a lot more. So goalkeepers are required to be on the ball. They're required to be a lot better, to be able to keep the ball under pressure, to be able to make the right passes under pressure. The goalkeepers of the past weren't required to do that. You know, sweeping as well.
So why they recognise more top keepers than today? You go for a list. I'm talking about the top, the creme de la creme. Not good, not very good. I'm talking about world class. Well, that's what I mean. Why isn't that discussion happening?
Okay, Manuel Neuer, revolutionary keeper. He's the one that revolutionized goalkeeper. For me, the best keeper ever. So we literally in this generation, we have the best goalkeeper ever. Already, that's one. David De Gea. Look at the season he's having. Yeah,
best shot stopper ever.
Season he had a couple seasons ago, or Doctor just mentioned that season with Phil Jones and Smalling at the back. How many clean sheets did he keep, Doctor, again? How many clean sheets?
I think it was 29. I think that's the number.
29. I don't know if that's right, but if that's right, that's crazy. With Phil Jones, with
Lindelof,
Smalling, over 20 clean sheets. Are you crazy? So there are top keepers today in terms of saving, keeping clean sheets. But they're required to do a lot more in terms of in the attack.
Wait, hold on. And one thing, keepers nowadays cannot make a mistake. If you make a mistake, you're finished as a keeper. Back then, I've seen lots of clips of because we don't make because back then you didn't have a compilation of Peter Schmeichel's mistakes. Now, if a keeper makes a couple of mistakes, you have a full 5-minute compilation mocking him. If you've gone back and watched full length games, someone like Peter Schmeichel made a lot of mistakes. No one talks about it though, because they have this idea that he was this all-powerful, all-stopping keeper. He never did anything wrong. He could stop it. When Roy Keane says Peter Schmeichel is overrated, and he was teammates with him, you have to understand. Maybe these keepers aren't as good as what we think they are.
Well, as I said, you guys three names, and I listed off about 10 in about less than 10 seconds. So I think that tells me everything you need to know. It's as simple as that.
Wait, Kasper Schmeichel is better than Peter Schmeichel. We can go there. We can go there.
Well, okay. Well, you can. That's fine. Anyway, you can have that comment, but live and die by that comment as well. Stay consistent.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's read some comments. Because there's a lot going on. We saw it with one of the best goalkeepers today. I don't know what you're talking about, but anyway, you know, let's see some more comments. They are the 11th field player these days. You know, yeah, that's true. The goalkeepers, they're the 11th outfield player. They're required to start attacks. Just exactly the point I was making. Pickford gets picked over Nick Pope, says it all.
Oh, it's Nick Pope from 1990s or something.
Sam keep crying. David De Gea is finished.
Would you wait?
Man
Hold on,
really
hold
said,
on.
I'm hurt
Hold on.
on his Twitter.
Hold on, wait, hold on. A second ago, wasn't Jinky saying, "Oh, why weren't players getting upset over losses?" There's just a new instead of getting pissed drunk and literally just messing up your liver, your body. What they're doing is just letting out their anger in a different way, a much safer way, a much healthier way. But hey, apparently we can't be upset in 2021.
Did anyone see David De Gea punching the entrance after the game? We saw that. That's passion, Jinky, bro.
That's the passion you're looking for.
I look forward to that in the actual game instead of just crying, trying to like hide from challenges.
But anyway, as talking about distribution, goalkeepers having to do more with their feet, being the 11th outfield player, defenders. They also have to do the same thing these days. Defenders back in the days, they also used to boot it out whenever they're under pressure.
Oh my god!
They didn't have any technique. Now the players of today, the defenders of today, they're also required to be good on the ball. And not only that, you could argue they're also better defenders. And right now you're probably thinking like, is this guy crazy? I could name you Maldini, Nesta. Who do we have today? Van Dijk. But let's be real. Today is arguably a lot harder to defend because fouls are given so easily for the smallest touches, for the lightest touches. Fouls are given, so that shows that you need more technique, you need more, skill to get the ball off a player without committing a foul. So you could argue that the defenders of today are better than the defenders of back in the days, because the defenders of back in the days, they would just use their aggression, their physicality to try to get the ball off a player, and they wouldn't get a foul. Today you'd get a foul for that. So maybe that's why there's not as many big names today, because they're held back. They're held back because of the small fouls given. What do you think, Jinky? I know you're gonna disagree with me, so let me hand the mic over to you. What do you think about that?
I would love for you to I don't know, go to Brazil and say that. I'd love for you to look Roberto Carlos square in the face and say that they didn't have technique and they just
he said Luke Shaw is better. He said Luke Shaw is better, confirmed. So yeah, because the career is so comparable, isn't it? It's a nonsense. Look, the art of tackling has died. Defending in its actual own right has died. When you think about the strikers that were involved in football, and you said you want to go down the pecking order, so we'll talk about the strikers in due course. But there was a lot of absolute class strikers, forwards who had great movement when it mattered, great strikers of the ball. You're saying that there's no intelligence that's required of that. Of course, there had to be intelligence. The level of strikers, the competition, and attacking midfielders, if you want to bring them in as well, there were a lot more at a higher standard. They just were. So you had to be better at defending. You actually going to sit here with a serious face and tell me that Maldini technically wasn't all that? Cannavaro technically wasn't all that.
But
a guy, by the way, from a defending point of view, by the way, was a midget, and you're telling me that he has no IQ or technique to be a decent defender. Come on,
I personally believe the players of the past that you mentioned and some more would struggle with today's defending, because, like I said, you didn't address my question about fouls being given more easily, and you need, more technique in terms of defending, taking the ball off your opponent. I believe the players of the past would struggle with that because they use more physicality. Do you not agree with that, Jinky? Like, do you not believe that taking the ball off a attacker is harder now than it is back then? It requires more skill without committing a foul.
Well, it requires more skill in an era that has less skill. Like
Neymar. Lewandowski,
First,
Suarez.
Neymar. Okay, so Lewandowski
We're gonna get to
is a fox in a box.
you know.
Suarez, again, you talk about the whole physicality and passion and all that impressive. Okay, Neymar. So you've named one skillful footballer. One.
Eden Hazard.
Good dribbler. So that's what I mean. Like it's just slow off the tongue every time. It's slow off the tongue every time. I don't even think you guys truly believe it yourself. I feel like you just want to protect what you've got now, but it's so slow. How's it? I can reel off all these players. I can recognize the players of today, but you can't even reel it off yourself.
Hold on. Okay. Firstly, I'm gonna quote your Maldini. Okay, I'm quoting him. He said himself, if I have to make a tackle, I've done something wrong. The fact that constantly defenders back then were making constant tackles again and again and again. They had to go to ground. Look at Nemanja Vidic. Everyone says he's an absolutely amazing defender. Half of his tackles would be red cards right now. Would be red cards because right now in 2021, defenders have to know how to do interceptions better, take the ball off them just so sneakily. Try and push strikers away from goal, not just going in and barging in.
Wait a minute. Because that's absolute cap for one, and that just shows you never defended in your life. That's what's been done since the dawn of time.
No, but it was more of an option to go down and slide tackle.
No, is it? It's a madness.
They've been doing it. They've been doing it, but they had more of an option to go down and take out someone. They did.
They also knew how to actually tackle as well.
But defenders can tackle now, but they're just not given the opportunities to, because if they go to ground, because if you get the ball and then afterwards get the man in 2021, you're gonna get a yellow or a red. Look at Cresswell. He just got a yellow for getting the ball.
Players don't learn how to tackle, right? This is why Aaron Wan-Bissaka is so revered, is this great tackler, because his actual tackling isn't just a lunge or anything like that. He actually scoops like a tackle should be. Players lunge. That's not done anymore. I'm sorry, but he just lunge, which is why actually these days it's probably more dangerous. That's why you get the leg breaks and this, that, and the other. Like it's just ridiculous. It's actually ridiculous. No,
leg breaks happened, but leg breaks happened back then.
Yeah,
difference was these people were insane enough to come out and play with broken legs. Right now, they're just not going to do that. We're trying to protect players' bodies for your entertainment.
Anyway, Jinky, I know you've been bullied most of this show because it was 2 against 1, but I'm gonna back you right here. I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit. I'm gonna ask Doctor a question. Doctor, nowadays teams usually play with one striker. Back in the days, you'd see a lot more teams play with 2 strikers. So defenders are usually 1-on-1 with another striker. Nowadays, it's usually 2-on-1 on one striker. Back in the days, it was 1-on-1. One defender takes the other one striker. The other defender takes the other striker. So would you not say, that shows that the defenders of back then had to deal with a lot more because it was 1-on-1?
No. Back then it was a 2v4. Now it's a 3v4. That's like more. Most people play with a front 3. It's not just one. Not just one sole striker doing it by himself.
No, but wingers don't go up against
Yeah, they do. Look at they do. They do. Look at Salah. He takes on both. Look at Rashford. Takes on both. All these like inside forwards that we sort of talk about have to take on both and cut inside. They're not just like standing far out on the wing where no one where no one is, and just like waiting there and just swinging a ball in from 50 yards away.
Don't forget about your 2 defensive midfielders as well to protect your centre backs these days.
Well, that's not always true. It's in a 4-3-3. There's normally 1 defensive midfielder. Back then, you had a 4-4-2, a bank of 4, and then another 4 people that went back and forth. So they defended. You had 2, like if you look at some old teams, you had 2 people that sat and then just two wingers.
Like Dennis Irwin, like Gary Neville, like them.
Bro, let's be real. Gary Neville. First of all, Gary Neville's overrated right back. Let's be real about that.
No.
Let's be real about that.
Let's not.
He didn't contribute that much to attacking play.
Let's not maneuver the goalposts here. You said all they do is sit back. So I've just given you two examples. You're a Man United fan, so I like to think that you've seen these guys.
Yeah.
They didn't sit back, did they? Dennis Irwin and Gary Neville. Come on.
But they didn't have to attack nearly as much as modern fullbacks did. If you look right now, if you look at Trent, is Gary Neville doing as much attacking as Trent is?
Are you for real? I think you need to.
Are you trying to say? Are you trying to say the likes of João Cancelo and Trent Alexander-Arnold do the same amount of attacking out play as Dennis Irwin?
See, what you got confused here, Sam, is that you've seen a player on the football and your eyes go to it. You're the classic ball watcher. Gary Neville is still making those same runs. Dennis Irwin is still making those overlapping runs to enable Giggs and Beckham. So I don't know what you're talking about, saying that they just sat back and didn't do anything. How do you think they developed the space in the first place?
They didn't have to attack nearly as much as modern fullbacks do, though.
Bro, go on MUTV and watch some live games from the 90s.
I've seen some live games. I've seen some live games. They do, what's it called? They run forward, but most of the time it's make a decoy run and then go back.
Sorry, the same level of energy is needed to run back and forth, though.
Wait. When Trent's having to move it into midfield, Trent's having to move into what's it called, DM, then CM, then right wing, going all across the midfield, the front line, like trying to get in the box. Right now, we have defenders getting into the box to score goals. Reece James is having to go into the box to score goals.
Anyway, Doctor, I'd love to continue the defending debate. It was a good debate, but let's move on to the midfield. But before we move on to the midfield, I want to remind the viewers, please like the video, man. Like the video and subscribe. And we're gonna read a couple comments just before we move on to the midfield. So someone here saying Ivanovic over Gary Neville. Reece James is Chelsea's top goal scorer right now. It shows that defenders have to, that they're required to go forward a lot more. Players are a lot more softer today, more theatrical. Just watch Yapstam and Gattuso flying into tackles. Today, they would be suspended for some of the tackles.
Because they would end careers.
Yeah. And but then I lagged a little bit. But then we have fraudulent defenders like TTA who would get put into in a spliff in the 90s.
Yeah, because every defender back then was so good at defending. That's why there's so many old fullbacks that I talked about. Cool.
Rudiger is the best defender in the game right now. But anyway, let's move on to midfield. Let's talk about the middle of the park. Jinky, I'm gonna start with you, bro. Have midfielders today improved on the past? Are midfielders today better than the midfielders of the past?
I tell you what, it feels to me, and again. We got to talk in generals. They're a bit like what we said about goalkeepers and defenders. You'll have one or two exceptions to the rule. But it seems to me that a lot of these midfielders just don't have their own brain. It's like they need to be coached, and they don't have that just individual moment to actually like assess a situation because of, I don't know, maybe it's the training, the system play, the academy. I feel at the top level, midfielders are better. They're better. They were more rounded. You didn't get this nonsense that I see today, where it's like yeah, I'm a centre midfielder, but I'm not quite centre midfielder. I'm like an attacking centre midfielder, but not a cam. I have to be on a certain side of the pitch. Like it's just it's like they can only operate on one blade of grass, and it's just a bit weird. Whereas you see a lot of the midfielders from back in the day, like you look at Zidane. Zidane was a centre mid. He was cam. He was left midfielder. Like it just didn't matter. It just didn't matter. And when you just see these players and the competition in these positions as well was incredible. That's the thing. Whereas nowadays everything's so broken up. It's you have to be a CDM. You got your eights. You got your attacking midfielders. It's so broken up now. And it's like we have these conversations all the time. Can we put this cam back in centre mid? Oh, well, you can't do that job because he can't defend. Okay, great. Like players could centre midfielders were centre midfielders. They could defend, they could attack, they could score goals, they could be defensive, they could be assisting, they can create incredible moments. You don't get that as much these days.
Doctor, what are you saying, bro?
Two things. No, I don't agree. Firstly, you see, I've said it. You see what Jinky wants in his football. He wants chaos. He wants everyone running about everywhere, doing whatever they want. Okay. Nowadays, what we have are specialists. Okay. A specialist means that we're going to have a player that is more adept at doing one thing than another. So you become a master of a particular trade, and not just a jack of all trades, master of none. Because let's be real, you can name any great centre mid of the past, and you can name something that they're really bad at. Like, let's be real, Scholes was not good at defending whatsoever. His tackles were awful. He's he's just defensive work was just pretty poor. Right now, he wouldn't be used as just like a centre mid trying to run around and trying to like slide in on someone and injure someone. He'd be used as a good person to just literally balance to just feed someone in the attacking play. Just playing that role of just getting the ball to the striker and creating opportunities. Like now we have KDB. KDB is putting up ridiculous numbers. He's been putting up ridiculous numbers. You don't know why? Because he's not doing all this ridiculous stuff of having to now play DM one moment and then cam a next moment and then left mid another moment and then strike another moment and just running all about the place like a headless chicken. He's actually just got instructions. Granted, KDB can actually track back. He can track back and he can defend. We've seen it multiple times. We've just made it so that we've played exactly to his strengths and not have him do something that he's not as good at. I don't see how that makes him worse.
I hear that, but
I find it weird. Sorry, I find it weird that your whole argument about, they're specialists, they've got this higher IQ, but they need to be told what to do. Like, it's just a madness. Like, so Xavi, Scholes, Makelele. It's like well, I could keep going on. But these players didn't need to be told what to do. They didn't need to be told what to do. Your Michael Carrick didn't need to be told what to do because they had a thing called a brain and in-game management. This is why you see chaos. You talk about me wanting chaos. It's the football these days is chaos because as soon as something doesn't go in their system, they don't know what to do. Let's look at Manchester United as a prime example. They've been practicing 3-5-2 for a number of weeks right now. As soon as something goes against the grain, chaos. Well, you didn't have that much chaos because people knew how to in-game manage. And that's the problem of these days. People don't have a brain because they're too busy being coached and being told what to do. So when it comes to in-game management, they haven't got a clue.
For me personally, I disagree, Jinky.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I obviously believe midfielders of today are a lot better than the midfielders.
Name me the world-class midfielders then, Osman. It is the challenge right here, right now. Who are under 30, yeah? Who are under 30?
Why
world class?
Because there's players doing it right now.
Well, because they're more my age, bro. And
we're talking about modern
if I'm the older person, then
We're talking about
Name the
modern day.
midfielders.
Okay.
Name the
We're
midfielders
talking about-
under
okay,
30.
they don't need to be under 30, bro. We're talking about modern.
Bro, no,
day.
no, let's
This is-
go. Let's
hold
go.
on. This is modern day football. So Luka Modric, bro. You tell me why.
Bro,
Luka
ban
Modric-
Luka Modric, but ban him anyway.
No,
No,
don't forget to
Frankie
relax,
De Jong. Frankie De Jong.
No,
That's right. The older players are
Jinky,
carrying
why
us. So
is
it's fine.
Luka Modric not on the level of the Zinedine Zidane? Like I said in the beginning of the video, in terms of achievement, ability, look at the stuff Luka Modric does on a football pitch: his ball retention, his ability to control a midfield.
The fact you have to use someone who's older than me, who's carrying the game, tells
he's
you
playing
everything
in
you
present
need
day.
to know. Everything you need to
playing in
know.
the present
Hold on.
day.
No.
He's
Wait,
playing
hold
in
on.
the present day. This
Well,
is
Luka
the
Modric
debate
is older than
versus
me, and
present,
he's
bro.
carrying the game. He's
Hold
carrying
on.
it.
No. Hold on a second. Firstly, let's look at some young midfield, some actual young midfielders. Okay, let's look at Pedri. Okay, did you see Pedri in that Euros? How old is he? He's a kid.
Like 18, bro.
And look at what he can do on the football pitch. Are you trying to tell me out of all your midfielders, name me one of them that can do what he did at his age?
At 18, bro.
At his age.
Iniesta weren't as good as Pedri at the same age.
Zidane wasn't as good as Pedri at that age.
Bro, where was Zidane at 18?
Where was exactly?
In France.
Look at De Jong, yeah. De Jong. Look at what he did in that Champions League in Ajax. No one was expecting him to come through, dominate midfields of your guys like Real Madrid. Remember, your guys of Kroos and Modric, your so-called big man. You have midfielder. Yeah, you have two midfielders, young ones, Van der Beek and De Jong, come in and boss them. Make them look feeble.
And okay, you brought up some good footballers, some very talented footballers. I'm not here to bash, but you know what the funny thing is, and you've just demonstrated this perfectly, because you're so desperate to have that next superstar, because it's just lacking. It's absolutely lacking in the modern day. You're desperate for these 18 and 19-year-olds. As I said, you're saying Pedri, baller, this, that, and the other. Tell me about what he's done in his career to even get that status yet.
Best young player at the Euros as a teenager.
So he's a talent. You're talking as if he's the next one. This is the problem. You build these players up to such a point. You build them up to such a point, and they never deliver. But there's far better examples. There's better than what did he deliver in the Euros? Come on. What did he deliver?
Okay. But then explain how your midfielders currently are struggling against the younger ones right now. Look at how Modric, Brozovic, and Rakitic struggled against Calvin Phillips and Declan Rice. Remember, a lot of people don't rate those two. A lot of people don't rate those clues. Those two are supposed to be average of overrated English hype. And they came in and literally played them off the park.
The same Brozovic, he was integral into winning the league. That Brozovic.
I'm talking about in international play in that Euros. Because let's be real, that Serie A is basically all pensioners. He's gone up against all people his age and up. So he's basically playing all the Finnish people. He's playing all the Finnish footballers.
So one game defines.
Not just one game. Look at the whole.
So the 2018 then semi-final. Like was he dead then in his 30s?
No. But he wasn't. Back then, he had a great tournament. He had a great season. 3 years. Oh yeah, it's 3 years ago. He had a great season. But no, let's be real. When he won that Ballon d'Or, we have people saying, "Oh, Hazard should have won best player." We have also people saying, "Oh, he shouldn't have won the Ballon d'Or. He shouldn't have done this." But why is there so much contention over was he actually that good? No one right now is saying Pedri is not that good. No one right now is saying that. Is saying that. I didn't say Pedri is not that good. I never.
No. But you know. But the fact is that you'll build them up to such a point, and actually, what has been done, he's just looked pleasing on the eye. Don't get me wrong, he's an incredible talent, but this is the thing. The funny thing is you had the perfect opportunity to actually use better players. I'm going to help you guys out. You could use Kimmich, use Goretzka. They're midfielders, are they not?
Yeah.
They've actually done something in their careers. But this is the thing. You want to go for the aesthetically pleasing people all the time, the one that look good on the ball and everything like that. To say that they're as good as Zinedine Zidane's and people like that, when Zinedine Zidane has actually been and done something. We wouldn't be talking about Zinedine Zidane if he wasn't integral to the clubs that he was at and actually produced big moments on the big stage.
But
I'm
right
talking
now,
about the top level. I'm not talking about, this is the thing. This is what you guys get confused with. You're talking about this little lukewarm, like dross where the masses are about. I'm talking about the top level. This is how football's defined. This is how the 60s are defined, 70s defined, 80s, 90s, etc. By the level of top players at the creme de la creme. And you just got dross. You got a mass of just average.
But you're looking back at players because their careers have already ended. Of course, someone's going to look good in retrospect. These guys' careers have just started, and look at what they've done.
So how is it that I could? Well, okay. So Zidane, whilst he was what at 97, 98, 99, like his career didn't end at that point, did it? So how is it you can tell when it's happening because he's making the most of the situation?
But you've got the thing is, all the older people have this obsession of kicking a player when they're down. You don't want these players.
Wayne Rooney. Did I? When did he come onto the scene? 16. 16.
And I'm talking about in the modern day.
And what did he win? Well, no, because you want to talk about how players have to finish their career to be recognised. Well, Rooney was doing it at a young age, and we could quite clearly see that he was an incredible talent. Lionel Messi came in 16, 17, was an incredible talent. We could see he was also starting to be a contributor to that Barcelona team. So that's just saying that, you have to wait until a player's career is done to define it. That's just nonsense.
Okay, we're not saying define it. Hold on, we're going to read some of the comments. Modric is one of the best centre mids of all time. Current day player, bro. Bro, he is, bro. How is he not? But anyway, they don't make them like they used to. Xavi, Scholes, Iniesta, Zidane, Makaleli, bro, Modric, Kimmich, Pogba. There are players today, but obviously nostalgia. You lot have a lot of nostalgia, bro. But anyway,
appreciation for skill. That's what it actually is.
David Villa domination. Top talent. David Villa was another top talent. You can only play what's in front of you by Ruben. But lads, we're gonna move on to the final category. But just before we do that, viewers, we're gonna allow you lot to have your say on this. Was football better back in the days? Was defending? Was goalkeeping? Was attacking better back in the days? You lot, the viewers, can have your say. We're gonna post the link to the StreamYard in the comment section. Click the link and come on and have your say. But just before we bring on you lot, we're gonna talk about attacking. Let me start off. For me personally, I believe that the attackers of today are just as good as the attackers of the past. Just as good, not better. Maybe even better. Because I'm hearing a lot of man hype up, the Ronaldinhos, the R9s, But the difference is, to the players of today, they did what the Ronaldinhos and R9 did, but with consistency. Let me compare Neymar and name Ronaldinho for a second. Neymar can do everything Ronaldinho does. And don't lie to me and say he can't. He can. All the skills, all the tricks Neymar can do. But Neymar also produced a lot better numbers than Ronaldinho ever did in his career. Neymar just scored his 400th career goal the other day. So he produces numbers. Also assists, goals. Neymar also had longevity over Ronaldinho. He did it for a much longer period of time. Let me compare Messi and Ronaldo to Pele and Maradona. bro, Messi and Ronaldo did it for 15 years plus. 15 years plus. On the top. They were going head to head for so long in the Ballon d'Or. The Ballon d'Or, bro, it was between them for over 10 for 10 years since 2008. Modric broke it, but now it's looking like Messi could win 2 in a row since Modric just won it. Consistency, bro. These players of the past, the Maradonas, the Ronaldinhos, the R9s, they didn't have the consistency of Messi and Ronaldo. And Messi and Ronaldo, they reached those levels, maybe even higher. The numbers they're producing is unbelievable. We've never seen those numbers ever. But Jinky, yet again, I know you're going to disagree. I want to hear you challenge that. I want to hear what you have to say because let's be real. Just one last thing. Yeah? Ronaldinho. 4 years, bro. 4 years. Messi did 3 times that. 3 times that. Like, how can you back these players of the past when Messi's doing it for 15 years?
It's funny because you want to sort of pigeonhole a lot of these footballers and try and compare it to Ronaldinho, which I think is quite amusing, really. I'm also quite amused at the fact that you talk about, well, there's 2 prongs of attack when you want to say attack him, because there has to be a clear distinction between a striker and what are these wide forwards, because these wide forwards would probably be classed as attacking midfielders in prior generations. So, you know, the Ronaldinho Neymar comparison, yeah, that's absolutely fine. If Neymar was that good, in your view, in your opinion, why is he not recognised in world football? Why is it that last year, when Ballon d'Or did the Ballon d'Or Dream Team, that Ronaldinho was ahead of him?
Ronaldinho? Listen.
Let me
tell you why. I said this when the video started. There's a lot of nostalgia with the older generation. Jinky, you probably grew up on Ronaldinho. You watched him as a kid. So you're going to have a natural bias to him. Like I said, it's not just football music. You're probably saying, you know, the Snoop Dogg's, 50 Cent, they're a lot better than what we have today. Because you grew up on them. It's normal. It's normal. You're going to have a natural biasness. But Jinky, be objective. Be objective. Like I said in the beginning, Neymar can do everything Ronaldinho does. The skills, the tricks. But he scores a lot more. He assists a lot more. And did it for a lot longer. Won a Champions League as well. Yeah. Won multiple league titles with Barcelona and PSG. So he has the titles as well. Ronaldinho was a side chick in the World Cup, so don't you dare bring that up. It was about R9. Anyway.
So 2002, okay, if you say so. Yeah, so the thing is, when it comes to these, because we're now talking the top v top. Yeah, and you're in this, like, they're jockeying for position. So you've got to look at literally everything. You're going to use the top players of today, which I've got to say, by the way, is being propped up by mid 30-year-olds who are scoring. The fact that you have to go down to Lukaku tells you everything you need to know.
Haaland, Mbappe.
Okay, Haaland and Mbappe. The three amigos. Oh, come on, man.
It's like Patrick Schick.
Right. Okay. You
top
can't
scored the Euros. You might just top scored the Euros.
You can't even say that with a straight face. Like, if you want to compare the likes of Isak and Patrick Schick over people like Batistuta and Weah or Samuel Eto'o.
Age for age, it compares, bro. Age for age, it compares.
All right, okay.
No. Tell me a player that at 19 had done what
Mbappe did.
What Mbappe had done,
bro.
By 19,
Jinky, you look.
Pele and Ronaldo.
Okay, but I don't think R9 was as good as what Mbappe was. By the age of 22, I believe Mbappe's achieved a lot more. I'm sure he's also scored a lot more.
When it comes to generation talents, I'm quite prepared to stick my neck out and say that Mbappe is that person. But the point that I'm trying to make, and the point I'm going to try and be consistent on, is look, I'm not saying that there aren't any players. It's quite obvious. It would be disingenuous if I said otherwise. But the fact is there's very few, and there is very few compared to the players of the 90s, noughties, whatever. Even if you wanted to go further back, but as I said, I'm going to concentrate on the players that I sort of watched as a kid and a teenager. So, as I said, we got 3 players. So, Mbappe, Haaland. It just kind of hurts me to say include Lukaku in that. But I can name quadruple that amount just instantly, just off the bat. There's people who are like, you don't even have to talk about stats and everything about, like Dennis Bergkamp, who are just clearly better footballers. The skill levels, in terms of their attack, is just so much better.
Was Dennis Bergkamp better than Kevin De Bruyne? Was he better than De Bruyne?
Well, make your mind up. Is De Bruyne a midfielder or an attacker now? Are you lacking the footballers in your generation that much that you have to start putting them in different categories now?
Here's a question. Here's a question for you. Who has the most goal contributions ever in a season in the Premier League?
You've obviously researched this one, so
Mo Salah.
Congratulations to Mo Salah.
Mo Salah. Please explain. And I want you to understand that these players are putting up these numbers not just because you're saying all these systems. A player has to fit a system. You can't just pluck a random player from the past and say, oh, they could just do that. You actually have to have the necessary tools and requirements to actually be as good to literally have the level of output that he's.
When did I say that they can come in and just do it?
No. But you're by saying, oh, these players aren't as skillful. They don't have as much of a brain. So you're implying that with less instructions and less stuff, they could just put up those numbers, right?
No, what I'm saying is that there's far more. I feel like you're either not hearing the point I'm making or just deliberately trying to ignore it. There are more top-level strikers than there are in this day and age. The fact that you guys have struggled beyond 3 has told you everything you need to know. The high level of standard compared to the high level of standard of 90s and the high level of standard today is not the same. You can barely come up with even 10 genuine world-class strikers, forwards, like that could actually really be of something, and we'll be in like the world greatest lists and everything like that.
But all these strikers, we have to judge them on potential. And how many players are going to be considered world class at 20?
But you're being propped
Messi
up by mid-30s, like 30-year-olds, like who are literally in the cusp of retiring. Like,
are we? Are we really?
Well, who are your top scorers in Europe? Who are your top scorers in Europe? Okay. So
Mo Salah.
Your Lewandowskis and people like that, your Benzemas and whatnot. So
yeah, but we have to also. But this season, you have to consider. Haaland's now injured.
Who was your top scorers? Okay, who was your top scorers last year? Who was your top scorers the year before?
Yeah, they score a lot of goals.
I rest my case. Hold
on. They're scoring a lot of goals, but you have to understand these players that we're talking about are on the ascension. So if you look at those numbers they're getting at that age, compare it to those your so-called like Lewandowski. Was he getting Haaland's numbers at Haaland's age?
Well, have you researched that? You'll see. You've asked it on the basis. I think
Lewandowski wasn't known until he's really until quite late on into his until his career.
When was that then, Sam? I'm curious to know that. When late on in his career? When was this?
His Dortmund days.
Was that late on in his career? That's a long time ago now.
That's a lot later than what Haaland's been recognized at his age.
if you think that there's genuine strikers out there who are better, more skillful than the likes of R9, then or Rivaldo, then be my guest. Like just
and I will tell you right now, Mbappe is better than R9.
Is he? And he's more skillful.
He's a better striker.
Age for age, 100%. Age for age.
Not even age for age. I honestly think, because if you look at what Mbappe is consistently getting, around 40 goal contributions a season, every season, consistently.
100. But anyway,
could R9 really say that he's doing that at 19, 20, 21?
I feel like you guys need to look at his career.
We have a couple coolers backstage. But before we bring on the coolers, let's read a couple more comments. I don't think Messi and Ronaldo has Erling's number in his age. Bundetax. Okay. Players of the past are iconic, but footballers are a lot fitter these days. And also teams are tactically better compared to the past. Okay. Funny seeing how people pick and choose when stats matter, when eye test matters.
Yeah.
Benzema, Mbappe, Haaland, Suarez, Lukaku, Kane, Lewa. That's responding to you, Jinky, bro. There are big boy strikers, but you don't want to admit it.
Oh, even Kane. Oh, but even mention Kane.
Harry Kane, bro.
Well, maybe we should get Mark to come and replace you guys then, because you two have been useless when it comes to naming people in your own generation.
I've named names.
Also, Ronaldo.
Like
I don't like the fact that Ronaldo's older than me, and you want to use him to prop your argument up.
You don't like,
it's hilarious
because you don't like certain players like Patrick Schick, who has actually been an outstanding player, especially during that Euro.
Yeah. Oh my days!
Getting top scorer of the Euros is now not a big thing to talk about.
He wasn't the top scorer anyway. Ronaldo was.
Oh, because of assists, he matched the same number of goals.
Well,
Ronaldo
was the top scorer. So let's. But anyway, if you want
the actual stats say they got the same amount of goals. But hey,
let's bring on some coolers now, because we've talked a lot. But now let's have some different opinions. Let's bring on the first cooler. Bro, how you doing, bro? Introduce yourself. Were you back in? What do you want to say, bro? Past, present, what you say?
I'm Dax. This is a very tricky situation, because I feel that it's also based on who grew up watching who. Because mostly if you probably grew up watching the past guys, you'll probably have that bias towards the past guys. And if you grew up watching the present time, you'll probably have more bias to the present guys. I think what's going on right now is there's a lot of evolution in terms of how football has grown. I think we don't have a lot of specialists like there was in the past. A lot of footballers are taught from a very young age to be a bit more of jack of all trades. Like they need to be able to be versatile and do a lot of things. Like this is what we're seeing more in terms of the young talented players that are coming up. Actually, players that can actually play more than one position and more than one role, which I feel it does kind of take away some technical ability of the players, because they're also relying on some system to make them bring out like their best attributes. You understand what I mean?
Jinky, what are you saying?
I thought that was really, really good points.
But Jinky is contradicting to what you were saying, because you were saying midfielders, they could defend and attack, but Dax was saying the defenders.
I'm saying they can
do a lot more.
I'm saying they can do all the because remember there was a time where a 10 was more of like a liability. You know what I'm saying? Like in terms of the defensive phase, there was a time where a 10 didn't have to do any work. It was more of just a player to do the attacking side. But now a 10 is required to do more than just attack. It's more about defending and pressing and all those things.
That's the opposite to what Jinky was saying, because Jinky was saying midfielders are required to do a lot more, but obviously Bruno Fernandes, Kevin De Bruyne, they're pressing a lot more than the number 10s of back in the days was.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is, because again, like what was better, past or present. So if if you just like people running around and doing all that gumph, like surely you want, if you want to watch a game live or go to a live, go to the stadiums, you want to see that magic.
Jinky, now you're
and the magic
wasn't
and the
you saying
magic
in
and the
beginning,
magic.
midfielders? You're a midfielder, so
Well, midfielders can still produce magic in midfield.
The midfielders
I
don't
think
produce
it's
magic nowadays. Wait, we don't
I
see
think
magic
it's
nowadays? Did we not see people like Bruno Fernandes scoring outrageous goals? KDB scoring outrageous goals? Are we not seeing people do more overhead kicks? We're seeing the likes of Danny Ings, Danny Welbeck doing overhead. We saw Sebastian Haller score an overhead
again,
kick.
Sam, I feel like the point's been missed in the fact that the levels for to the top level where there was more. There was more. You're using people like Danny Ings and
There's
Danny
more.
Welbeck to back your arguments, man. Like, come on, what is this?
Yeah,
Like,
and I'm saying that's supposed to be the lowest of all the strikers. Yeah, you have to understand. There's levels. They would be considered our lower level. So imagine if the lower level people are doing what your favorite strikers were doing as magic.
and there
Imagine
was
what the
more top
upper
level
were
players doing that back then than there are now. And the fact that you have to use,
really?
well, yeah, because it's been widely accepted and recognised that they were.
No, but I think but you have to understand standards have changed. So for whatever you think was top level
the standards have
top
dropped.
level, but top level back then was just standing in the box and shooting. Now we have to have someone like Kane who can just drop into midfield, collect the ball, link up play, do all this stuff, hold up, link up all the stuff, and also stay in the box and score as well. But we can't rate that. But we're going to rate someone who just stands in the box, waits for the ball and scores less goals.
Okay, well, as I said, if you think the players that I've mentioned, like the likes of Cantonars and, as I said, your Omris, they just stood around in the box, then again, the Bergkamps, Riquelmes, if you want to say that, then that's fine. Go watch the tapes.
Is Henri doing hold up play like Kane?
Oh man, like
Is he holding off? Is he holding off 5-6 different massive 6'3", 6'4" the defenders?
Yeah,
and
well, so okay, you know what? Let's go back to the caller because I'm just bamboozled by that comment.
Let's read a couple more comments first. So, let's bring up the comments. Foden is the best English player in the last 20 years. Foden, X, ESR, Emile Smith-Rowe, I think he's talking about, will be better than Lampard and Gerrard. That's a big claim. Yep. That's a big boy claim.
Adam Mason Mount as well.
Okay. If you order Deji from Wish, you look.
Hey, relax there.
Okay. Next comment. What is the age cut for modern players and older players, bro? For me personally, is we're talking about players who are playing now versus the players of the past. I don't know what Jinky was talking about when you're saying Modric isn't modern. Modric is modern, bro. He's modern. He's playing right now.
He's older than me. He's older than me. You consider me black and white TV, bro? What are you talking about?
Yeah, but he's playing now. He's playing now. You know, that's what we're talking about. So let's bring on the next caller. Dax, we're gonna keep you on though. We're gonna keep you on. This is discussion. But next caller, how you doing, bro? Introduce yourself. What are you saying? Past or present?
Oh, hello. And
yes.
I am back in the present.
The present day. Yeah. Why are you back in the present day, bro?
Present day, I'm back in because nowadays football is more at a higher tempo, and it's been very more physical, quicker, and I think the players have been able to match that with their fitness, and I think that's what distinguishes the present from the past, because at the past you can see Ronaldinho just doing backflips, rainbow flicks without anyone pressing him, and it was like against Brazil, like when he was playing for Brazil, he would just be in the middle of the pitch doing rainbow flicks. and you wouldn't see that in the Premier League right now.
Bro, he was retiring people. I don't know what you like have been watching, but when he's taken on 3 people, like what are you on about?
Bro, they're backing off him. They're running away. Like no one's engaging.
They can't engage. That's the thing. They can't engage because he confuses them with his skill.
Bro,
He's retiring people.
Let's be real. These people didn't have any fortitude. They didn't have anything to actually go and say, oh, maybe I'm going to try and tackle this person. No, I'm just going to stand back and watch them do all these flips and tricks.
They tried to. They tried to. They couldn't. Like, I'm not the cap, man.
Thing back then.
Okay.
I don't think it was.
Well, I'll tell you what, bro. If you look on YouTube, have a look at the Netherlands, Total Football, and talk to me about that didn't exist.
So
it's nice education piece.
It's the same as pressing now.
As I said, have a look at Total Football Netherlands. Look at the Ajax team.
But Total Football does not equal like what Pep did in terms of pressing, what Klopp did in terms of high intense football. Like they're not the equivalents.
Have a look. As I said, have a look and decide for yourself.
But Total Football is not a style of play. Total Football is just like being able to move in different positions. That has nothing to do with.
Okay. So you're right here, right now, live, trying to tell me that the Netherlands Total Football style and the Ajax Total Football style is not a style of football.
That's like saying you have a hairline.
No, I'm saying that Total Football itself is not a style, but what they did is they got that and created a style from Total Football.
Okay. Well, as I said to the caller, have a look at that because it'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting.
Anyway, Cooler, what do you think of? Obviously, you said you're back in the present day. What do you think of Jinky's War for All stream?
I don't think he's going anywhere, to be honest. I think that was bully. That was being bullied.
You think he was getting bullied all show? I think personally, me and Doctor bullied them.
Left, right, center, down the middle, everywhere. I don't see him coming back from that.
Bro, we destroyed you, Jinky. Everyone in the comment is saying we destroyed you.
I haven't seen anybody saying that.
Even the trim's a violation, man.
Oh.
Jinky, take off your hat, bro.
I'm okay, man.
Take off your hat, bro.
Take off the hat.
Yeah. It's all right, man. Disney villain, bro. Beautiful.
Yay!
Osman, when are you going to get your comb out to sort your hair, yeah?
No. See. What you need to realize is that Jinky is backing these players because, like, he's trying to stand with his brothers whose hairlines are going too far back. If you look at R9's hairline, gone.
What the hell are you talking about?
He has to back them because he has to back the hairline gang. Okay,
Sam, what are you on about? Literally, it's about 6
Sam,
fingers.
Come close, bro. Come close.
Yeah.
Come
Wait, what?
Hey, come close, bro. Anyway, man, we're gonna bring on some more coolers, man. We're gonna bring on some more coolers.
Sam, where's the finger count? Because at least my excuse is a shaven. Come on, Sam. What's that? Okay.
It's a
6 fingers, Sam.
Okay. 6 feet. No. It's free. Don't worry, it's free.
Anyway, we're gonna bring on some more coolers. Back to the topic, man. Past versus present. Let's get on some more coolers. New cooler.
Right.
What are you saying? Yo, you should be prepared, bro. Come on, bro. We're gonna give you 5 seconds. If you don't talk in 5 seconds, we're gonna kick you out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get out, bro. Get out, bro. You should be prepared. By the way, viewers, if you want to call him, be prepared, man. You can't be coming on, clicking the StreamYard link, then going to the kitchen, leaving your phone with the StreamYard link on. We get you on. Like, come on, bro. You should be prepared. But anyway, we're gonna bring someone on. We're gonna bring someone else on. Okay, the other guys went. But anyway, Dax, is there anything else you want to say, bro?
No, I think it's fine. I've said my piece. I beg the present, guys. I think the way football works now, with all this sport science also helps the players play long, because I feel like a lot of situations of people like Ronaldo and people like Thiago Silva still playing around this age is because of all these other aspects that have entered in football. So I beg the present, guys, and that's pretty much it for me.
By the way, lads, we're gonna put a poll in on our Twitter on whether you believe the past is better than the present, whether football was better back in the days than it is right now. So if you wanna take part in the poll, click the link in the description. We have a link to our Twitter. Click the link and get voting. Is the past better than the present? But anyway, the cooler is back. The next cooler is back. We're gonna bring him on. New cooler.
Yeah.
Oh, bro.
Yo, can you hear me?
Oh, I get him.
Who was that, bro? Who was that?
Oh, man. It's a troll. That's what it was.
We're gonna get.
I do find it interesting that when it comes to level of skill and well, if you want to call it entertainment, because I know that's something that you guys look at a lot. That hasn't even been mentioned when it comes to modern day football. All of it is to do with science, like the fact that these players are fitter, can last longer. That seems to be your go-to. But do you go to games? Do you watch games to appreciate a player's whether they're fitter than 20 years ago, or do you actually want to see some skill in a football match?
So because footballers are fitter and they have more stamina, we're able to play a higher, more intense game, and the faster paced game is going to be more fun, is it not? If the ball is zipping about the pitch, lots of teams are doing it right now.
Football is higher tempo. That's not even
and it being higher tempo is gonna actually create like faster, more exciting football. Like anything can happen at any moment. We're just like, because everything's moving so quickly, you can barely keep up.
Is it? Because it's not anything can happen. Because if it's so rehearsed and engineered, because of the systems, how is it anything can happen?
Not everything's rehearsed though. We still get moments. Like we got the corner taken quickly. One of the biggest moments of the past few years was literally just an exact of literally is that instant switch and quick football brain has literally enabled it to and like that higher tempo of literally you can't switch off for 1 second or else the whole part.
Quick corners. Wait a minute, a quick corner's not a new thing, is it? Come on.
No, but in that moment and what he did, because he was walking away from it. No one was actually expecting him to actually take that corner. In fact, he literally said, "Oh, everyone has switched on now. Like you stay switched on. You can't sleep for 1 moment because that 1 moment he caught them sleeping. They lost control of the whole game. That's one of the great things that we have nowadays is that football is so intense and so focused that if a player has just one lapse in judgment, once more incorrect decision, there's such finer margins now that if one player makes one mistake, the whole game just comes falling apart.
I just find it a bit bizarre that in a game in a sport which you watch for enjoyment and entertainment, when you look at the past and you look at the players, there are more characters. There were more talisman. There was more competition, which generates that excitement. Yet you don't. Who are the big characters now? The fact that people like Harry Maguire is considered a leader and a captain, this, that, and the other. Like, what the hell? Like, who are the characters?
What you want is someone shouting and screaming, trying to pick fights and all that kind of stuff. And what we actually want to see is football. So did
Ronaldinho do that?
Ronaldinho spent half his time standing in space, doing flicks and tricks and all that nonsense.
Did Bergkamp do that?
Bergkamp, yeah.
Did Don Reid do that?
But then you also had people like Roy Keane and Gattuso who'd come out and start kicking people and starting fights. All you guys were going to see is character and fights.
We're gonna bring on the last couple coolers, guys. We're gonna bring on Manny and Z, my boys. Z, how you doing?
I'm good. How's it going?
Yeah, we're doing good, bro. Jinky, doctor, respond, man.
Oh no, no, no! I'm here. I'm here for the past. I'm here for the past. You know, I'm taking it way back, like Dr. Sam's hairline. You know, so we're here.
Wait,
We're here for that. Well, let me say
wait.
this, right? Let's go with. First of all, the Ronaldinho slam.
You're the showman.
We're talking about the most entertaining footballer of all time. You see what The Rock was for wrestling? That's what Ronaldinho was for football. Right?
Yeah.
So you got to understand that. Yeah, but this is the problem. They talk about Roman Reigns now. Roman Reigns is no Rock. That's The Rock's like fifth line cousin. Like it don't make no sense. Like get him out of it.
Is Neymar not doing?
We have CM Punk, but okay, cool.
Neymar. We don't listen. I want to be so respectful to the stream right now. There's so many things I can say about that roly-poly guy. Listen, Christmas is coming up. The only roly-polies I like are the ones that can eat on Christmas Day as dessert. I do not like that roly-poly guy on the pitch. Ronaldinho actually never. If you saw him on that pitch, it was almost like the closest thing you could get to, you know, the closest thing you can get to pornography without having to, you know, get any notion out.
Relax.
Without getting it's the
November,
closest
man.
thing you can get to Da Vinci art. There's a Picasso. The closest thing you can get to when Jesus made turn water into wine. There's so many descriptions for it. Like this guy was magical. He was a magician on the pitch. And then you want to talk about Neymar, who's barely fit, who does roly-poly.
Wait, you're acting like Ronaldinho stayed fit his whole career. He was fit for like 2 years and then dipped.
Mate, even Ronaldinho, when he turned into 500 pounds Ronaldinho and he had a big belly and all, he was still better. He still played more matches than Neymar. He done a bicycle kick.
Neymar. I respect Ronaldinho. Like I said, I respect Ronaldinho. But I'm saying, why are people not putting respect on Neymar? Because I believe Neymar can do everything Ronaldinho does, but he also did it consistently for a longer period of time and scored a lot more goals and assisted a lot more than what Ronaldinho is. So why are people disrespecting
Because nowadays
Neymar?
it's so easy. It's much easier to get an assist. You can cross the ball, right? And then someone can take 15 touches on the ball and shoot a goal. And that's count as an assist. Before you had to be direct with an assist. I heard Dr. Sam talking about Thierry Henry. All right, let's stop it right there. Thierry Henry, right? We'll talk about Harry Kane. Kane, then we'll talk about, he got the assistant top goal scorer record. Bring up the stats for Thierry Henry that season when he actually got the record. 20 assists within the Premier League. 20 assists. And he also got top goal scorer that season as well. It is ridiculous. It's all cap. Everything you're saying is cap. The thing is, this is the problem with you kids. You like to be out with the old and in with the new. No, this is the problem. You don't need to do your research. You're not doing it right. You're not doing it right.
Let me.
Your music, it transcends into your fashion. You know, wearing jeans.
Let me.
You're listening to music artists that are pregnant. Like it don't make no sense. You're
waffling a lot and not really making a lot of sense. Let me explain something to you. The reason why you think Ronaldinho is so great is because that's the first time you've ever seen anyone do a rainbow flick. I can tell you, 90% of footballers nowadays, I can see a keeper do a rainbow flick. That's why it's not impressive anymore because everyone can do it. But not as many people. But not that many people can do it. Fred can do a rainbow flick.
Even the celebrations there's no backflips. There's no salsa.
All you want is backflips, dancing. You don't want to see football. They don't want to see football. They want to see. They want to see a Circus du Soleil.
Hang on, because I think Sam, one, you're sounding like a bit of a fool right now. Because at the end of the day, the love for Brazil, the samba football is why a lot of people love football. So calling it just dancing like some kind of weirdness, like come on man, like just show some respect. Anyway, at the end of the day, Brazil now are criticized because they've lost that identity.
Yeah, but
what
anyway,
that tell you?
It's because of the old people wanting to hang on to all this past stuff. Literally, They've changed now.
What flair
Move
football?
on. It's
on,
not. It's
entertaining
not
football.
flair football.
Hold on, lads,
It's
hold on, lads.
dancing, having
Let's-
fun, having a.
Let's hear
like,
what Manny has to say. Let's see what Manny has to say. He's been waiting patiently. Manny, what do you think of this? Are you with the past, present? Who you backing, bro?
For me, back in the day, obviously, I'd say that Ronaldinho is one of the greatest players of all time, and you can't really compare Ronaldinho to Neymar because they're both on different levels. You get me? Back in the day, Ronaldinho, the guy was doing it in Spain. The guy was doing it in Italy. The guy was doing it everywhere. And I feel like I would love to see Ronaldinho in the Premier League because I feel like if he done that in the Premier League, I feel like everyone would be calling Ronaldinho the greatest of all time. But things with Neymar, yeah, he's a good player, but I don't think he's on the level with Messi and Ronaldo. See, the thing is with
What is he
Neymar,
on
yeah,
the level of Ronaldinho, bro? Because he did it for longer than Ronaldinho did, has better numbers than Ronaldinho. Why is he not on the level of Ronaldinho? Give me a good reason, because this whole stream I haven't heard a good reason why.
No, because if you look what Ronaldinho, if you look at where Ronaldinho is, yeah, Neymar he's doing it in a Farmers League, in a French league, what?
He did it in La Liga as well.
Okay, yeah. He did it in La Liga, but for most of his, he's been in PSG for what nearly 5 years now. At that time,
then why haven't Barcelona won a Champions League without him?
With Neymar,
Yeah, I must admit.
Apparently, Messi is so much greater, but how come he needed Neymar to get him that Champions League?
I must admit, Manny, thanks for your points there. I kind of feel there's an element of disrespect when it comes to Neymar. Like, he is a very entertaining footballer. I think, like I said,
the real hype for me.
Well, yeah, that's fair. I feel like the issue is that there just aren't as many. Like, literally, you could come up with so many flair players back in the day, and now we're just so reliant on Neymar. Like, I think I have to go to Saint Maximin and Everton, to look at these quite entertaining players on the ball. And come on, that is a high skill level. That is a high skill level. Now, there's a lot of footballers in this day and age who are good close control dribblers, but in terms of that ridiculous skill, that real bamboozle moment, you don't see that anymore. You don't see that as much. As I said, we're just constantly Neymar. It may have changed, but it's the entertainment part. It's the bit that makes you want to go into the cages, the playgrounds, the football pitches, and try and emulate these ridiculous skills. And for a lot of people, fail, but you still want to do that. I don't hear that passion anymore. I don't hear that love.
Okay, so what's the most exciting thing on a football pitch? Is it someone doing a rainbow flick, or is it someone scoring a goal?
Scored a goal.
You answered that question, but we're seeing people getting higher numbers in goal volume now than back then. So what? Why are you? So we're getting to see the most exciting thing more often, but yet football's gotten worse.
Good point. But anyway, we're gonna bring on the last caller of the day. Emmanuel.
People could do both.
Hello.
Hey.
Okay, last caller.
Hello.
How you doing, bro?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm doing all right.
Who you backing, bro? Past, present? Is football better now, or is it better back in the days? Ronaldinho, Neymar. What do you want to address, bro?
I'm backing your mad forehead. Jinky is a potato with eyebrows. Doctor Who, Sam.
I'm so confused.
listen, this is how I was born, man. I'm proud of the way I was born. Like I don't like I embrace it. Jinky probably embraces it. Doctor embraces
Yeah.
it. But anyway, it was a good note to. But anyway, lads, viewers, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you coming onto the show. But before you leave, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe. Also, follow all the socials. The link is in the description. The Insta, the Twitter, and also vote. Vote on the Twitter as well. Is football better now than it was back in the days? And also join the Discord as well. We want to continue this discussion on voice chat,
That's
on
interesting
the
topic.
chat and Discord. It's a good community. We're trying to build a community. So join the Discord as well so we can continue this conversation. But anyway, lads, coolers, Manny, we appreciate you coming on. Dr. Jinky, thank you for coming on as well.
Thank you.
And have a nice
Thank you.
day. Everyone have a nice day.